This is a subject that I feel is important to address because of the reality that, of course, figuring out how to pay for a wheelchair van is important in the lives of every person and family who needs one. And unfortunately, when it comes to the various government and pseudo-government programs and nonprofits that are mentioned on the internet and are talked about by various agencies, social workers, and so forth, my observation of the realities has not been positive, not at all. I will say that I'm not an expert about this and the ins and outs of various programs, and frankly, I can't tell you what their specific names are or who the administrators are for these programs. But what I can do, and I think could be helpful for you to know, is to share with you a summary of my observations, experiences, and awareness during my years of specializing in used wheelchair vans. As I am generally a very optimistic person, it pains me to share with you what is true from my perspective. But on the other hand, I think life works best when we know what is real and not so real. And so here are a few of my observations. I've heard and read that it is possible for certain veterans, especially ones who were injured in war, to get assistance, supposedly substantial assistance, when needing a wheelchair van. However, although many people have told me they were planning on getting money from such programs, I have never, not even once, known of anyone to have ended up getting a van via such a program. I have heard that certain insurance companies or special private companies that a person has paid premiums to over a period of time will buy a person a wheelchair van if something causes them to need one. However, I have never known of such an event to occur. I have read and heard that there are charity organizations, nonprofits, and various entities that are designed and intended for providing wheelchair vans for people who need them. Or at least they supposedly assist with the funding. However, there is no occasion I have been aware of in which this has actually occurred. I have heard from numerous people and read some stories that after spending many months, and in some cases years, folks have given up after trying to jump through the unbearable, seemingly insurmountable hoops that are in place and required in order to eventually, supposedly, get funding for a wheelchair van from these various sources. And so unfortunately, sadly, the bottom line of my observation has been that although there is supposedly ways for some people to get funding from some source other than themselves or family or friends, it seems to actually be nearly impossible. I wish I had better news to report about this topic, but unfortunately I don't. The reason I have chosen to share my perspective about this is because I have heard, felt, and read about so many people that are hurt, disappointed, and disheartened. They are that way after investing months, and in some cases years, trying to get assistance to buy a van, and then for one reason or another, they are let down and have to give up. I suppose there are examples, there must be, of people who have actually made it through one of these processes and have ended up having major assistance buying a van. And so I'm not suggesting it is absolutely impossible. I just want you to know what the odds are before you invest months or years of time and emotions in a process that very likely will not succeed. Finally, on a positive note, I will say that I have been incredibly moved and touched by the generosity, creativity, and strength of will of so many people who I've been in contact with and have become aware of over the years. I've experienced family, friends, communities, and even strangers coming together in a wonderful, beautiful way to make it financially possible for an individual or a family who needs a wheelchair van to get one. And so I suggest that if you can't afford a van and you need one, please reach out to your friends, relatives, neighbors, and communities. My observation is that there is an amazingly generous spirit among many people who are actually very happy to be of help to someone who needs a wheelchair van.